isolated, neglected, and trapped in poverty. That's the harsh reality faced by many small towns in the heart of Mississippi. Behind the green forests and tranquil rivers lies a heartbreaking story of towns that are barely touched by progress. Fragile infrastructure, limited job opportunities, and staggering poverty rates are the daily faces of life here. In this video, we'll uncover the 10 most isolated and impoverished towns in Mississippi. Imagine living in a town so small that the entire population could fit into a single classroom, with everyone living below the poverty line. That's Simons, a remote CDP in Bolivar County, Mississippi, home to around 34 residents in 2025. Despite growing by 6.25% from the previous census, the poverty rate here reaches 100%. Making it one of the most extreme poverty hotspots in America, according to Zip Atlas. Simons started as a single-family settlement and never developed into a town with basic infrastructure. There are no schools, clinics, or places of worship to speak of. Residents must travel dozens of miles to nearby towns just to buy medicine or fill up their gas tanks. Formal employment opportunities are virtually non-existent. Many rely on the land and assistance from the small community churches that regularly send food packages. But the biggest challenge here is isolation. Some homes don't even have stable access to clean water. So, what about Glen Ellen, another town that once thrived but now struggles in poverty? You may never have imagined what it's like to live in a town slowly being swallowed by swamps and forgotten by history. In Glen Ellen, a small community in Sharkey County, Mississippi, over 92% of the population lives in poverty. With only 292 people, this town is a remnant of the cotton plantation era, now transformed into a ghost town. Once, the land around Glen Ellen was the main source of livelihood. Now, only small farms and home-based fishing activities remain. Most of the streets in this town are still dirt roads, and the elementary school has been closed. Children have to ride a bus for miles to attend school in neighboring towns. But the biggest challenge isn't just poverty, it's the seasonal flooding every spring that often damages homes and contaminates water sources. Minimal sanitation further worsens residents' health conditions. Behind the quiet of Glen Ellen, there is a glimmer of hope. FEMA's assistance programs arrive after floods, though the support remains limited. Moving on to Glendora, another small town that carries the weight of America's racial history. Here, 90% of the population lives in poverty. Glendora, a tiny village in Tallahatchie County, Mississippi, has a population of 132 people, all of whom are African American. With a median household income of just $10,875, Glendora is not only a poor town, but it also symbolizes America's racial wounds. It was here, in 1955, that the world was shocked by the discovery of the body of Emmett Till, a 14-year-old black teenager who was the victim of racial violence. This tragedy stirred public conscience and helped ignite the early steps of the civil rights movement. Glendora once thrived due to its railroad and timber industries. Today, residents survive on small-scale cotton farming and tourism, with the Emmett Till Museum being the town's main attraction. Despite the scars, the town still stands, and the journey toward healing is far from over. Next, Bethlehem. Nestled deep in the Holly Springs National Forest, Bethlehem is a small village haunted by extreme poverty, with a staggering poverty rate of 90.7%. This community has around 282 residents as of 2025. with a median household income of just $53,410. It is far from enough to cover basic living costs, especially by the state standards. Bethlehem was once known for its small farming community and even produced legendary athletes like Chet Walker. Now, only forests and vast fields fill the horizon. Most of the residents rely on odd jobs and government assistance. There's no high school within the CDP, and accessing healthcare requires traveling several miles. Next, Dodsville, located in Sunflower County. Dodsville now has a population of just 62 people. Once a thriving town, it has now become one of the areas with the highest poverty rates in America, with a 90%, 4% poverty rate according to Zip Atlas. The average household income is very low, and the gap between residents is glaringly apparent. Dodsville was founded in the late 19th century as a timber processing and cotton plantation center. However, with the decline of industrialization, jobs disappeared as well. Today, most residents survive on government assistance and seasonal agricultural work. The education system is served by the Sunflower County School District, with Thomas E. Edwards Senior High School being the nearest public school. Access to healthcare remains a major challenge, with clinics and hospitals located several miles away. If Dodsville can endure, what about White Oak? In White Oak, poverty isn't just a statistic, it's the everyday landscape of life. Located in Tunica County, Mississippi, White Oak is a small community along Highway 4, with a population of just around 516 people in 2025. Although surrounded by peaceful nature and a friendly community, its economic reality is far from tranquil. The poverty rate in White Oak reaches 77.1%, with a median household income of only $39,996 and a per capita income recorded at $0. In this once thriving town, the population has now decreased by nearly 40% since 2020. In Foxworth, time feels slow, but poverty arrives fast. Located in the heart of Marion County, Foxworth is a small community now home to 607 people in 2025. Just 3 miles from Columbia, this town seems quiet, yet it harbors deep-rooted economic challenges. With a poverty rate of 71.3% and a median household income of only $21,212, Foxworth reflects the face of economic disparity in rural Mississippi. Although the population has slightly increased, the median age of the residents, 51.9 years, depicts an aging community. Foxworth's history began with the lumber and milling industries. In the past, railroads connected this community to the regional industrial centers. Today, those mills are only memories, and most of the residents rely on manual labor or government assistance to make ends meet. Schools like West Marion High School and services like Pearl River Community College are still operational, but medical clinics remain limited. If Foxworth is struggling, what is the fate of Harperville, which is smaller and more hidden? There's no time to grow slowly in Harperville. Life demands maturity from an early age. Hidden in the heart of Scott County, Mississippi, Harperville is a tiny, unincorporated community along Highway 35. With a population of 420 people in 2025, the village grows by 7% annually. But that growth does not come with an improvement in quality of life. The statistics are staggering. The median household income is just $13,938, and the poverty rate is 100%. The average age? Only 15 years old. It's a young community living in the most fragile of conditions. Harperville has a dark history. In 1898, A racial tragedy left a deep scar in the collective memory. Today, little remains except quiet streets, a small post office, and faint hope. There is no high school or healthcare facilities in town, and children must travel miles to access education and basic services. Now, let's move on to Alligator, Mississippi, where life hasn't changed much over the decades. But ironically, that's part of the problem. With a population of only around 102 people in 2025, Alligator is a shrinking town in Bolivar County. Geographically and economically isolated, this town holds a harsh reality: a poverty rate of 64.2% and a median household income of just $43,662. Here, access to stable jobs and public services remains a major challenge. The name Alligator comes from a nearby lake, once a habitat for alligators, but it's now more known for its history and isolation. In 2009, the residents elected Tommaso Brown as their first black mayor, reflecting the community's spirit to push forward despite their limitations. Finally, we have Dodto County, where poverty presents itself through cracked roads, seasonal jobs, and an uncertain future. Located in Clark County, Dodto is a small community with only around 341 residents in 2025. Although the population has grown rapidly in the last 5 years, most of its residents still live below the poverty line. The poverty rate is 62%, 5%, and the median household income is only $37,167 per year. Yet, Dodto County offers unique attractions, from the golf courses and the legendary Velvet Cream restaurant to the Dodto Museum, which is rich in colonial and civil rights history. Hernando Dodto Park also provides rare access to the Mississippi River, with hiking trails and picnic areas. However, Dodto remains impoverished due to its geographical isolation, limited job opportunities, low wages, and restricted access to education and basic services.